What?
What are you doing with that?
You know what this is? You get 10 seconds. Pair of slippers for a very large person. Not really. It's a mic cover. Big boom mics like that.
Why do they need a large fluffy cover for a boom
In
mic?
case they ever want to interview someone really tall.
Really? Is that where we're going with that? I had no idea.
103 today.
Okay, yeah, I know. I'm so excited.
103. By the way, welcome to the Todd and Erin morning stream on GetPartDaily.com. Should we check the outside camera?
I think that's for the best thing. Oh, by the way, good morning to everybody on Facebook. So nice to see you. Good morning, Marianne. Black Diamond Service experts bringing us the mountain cam this morning. We're getting a little bit more of the fire smoke, although they keep telling us the Brainhead fires mostly contained.
70%. 70% in all the towns and stuff putting up signs saying thank you,
we love
firefighters and all the helicopters and all the guys and women all fighting and helping with the food and the support and all that stuff.
I know they've been bringing casseroles down to the site. I thought that was really
they're
adorable.
saving your home.
Thanks, Skippy. I'm happy to do it. Yeah, really.
So,
we're all here for you. And given last night in the fireworks, it's kind of a miracle they weren't saving our house.
Do you know? Don't sound like get off my lawn, girl.
No, I don't, because I love fireworks, and it's not like you and I have not visited Wyoming, just over the border, and purchased our own selection of incendiary devices before ourselves. But traditionally, we don't do them in a field that's full of dead, dry grass.
Okay, so here's the situation. Because of Zach, he has sensory issues and stuff. We can never really go close to fireworks, so we tried to find a place farther away. And you know what is the best place in the valley?
Genius.
Go ahead.
You know you're going to be sorry you said this, because next year we'll never get in.
We'll all be friends.
It's the outpatient building at Primary Children's Medical Center, because it's like it encompasses the entire valley. It's so cool. So we can see everything from the Jordan Parkway over there in Salt Lake, the west side of Salt Lake, all the way down to Draper, to all of the fireworks there. Everything, with the Bees baseball field and Liberty Park and all. How many do you think total?
Okay, so.
Because it went on for a good hour.
And this is funny, because when you had remember, I'm looking and seeing them all. Well, some would stop and others would start. So this was a constant thing. But if you drew a straight line over to the Oakers and made it quarter mile wide, there was easily 300 or 400. And so in the whole valley, it's got to be...
the big boom ones, not just like a kid waving sparklers. It was like big enough for us to see from
across
20, 30 miles away.
Across the valley, yeah. It was unbelievable.
Incredible.
And they were everywhere.
It was gorgeous.
So,
but then driving home from Primary Children's, because we live very, very close.
Don't do it.
No, it's just that there's a big park there, and then there's this gigantic hillside, and as everything else has happened, this dry, life-sucking dust bowl of depravity that is high temperatures, everything has died. So somebody was setting off some really elaborate, lovely fireworks, except for we could tell based on where they were coming from that it was probably right in the middle of that field. So I was kind of waiting for the fire trucks to be showing up, but I guess they managed to stamp out most of it. So
there wasn't a fire.
How could there not have been?
Oh, gosh.
They were in the middle of a dead, dry field.
So coming up, we're going to talk about some Hollywood. We got that.
Oh yeah, we got a box office and a couple of interesting little gossip bits that you're going to like. But it's amazing to me. I never thought that I would see the day we would actually see a third party here in Utah, a third political party.
Right.
It just might happen. I'm talking to Jim Bennett. He's Senator Bob Bennett's son.
Right.
He's really fascinating.
Less
it's going to be fun to hear.
Less crazy than the other two.
I don't think that's even possible, but we can try. There's also the tragic story of no good deed goes unpunished, and it involves jail time. And there's a whole bunch of other really cool stuff.
Okay, that's all coming up.
But let's talk about Gordon Hayward first, because this is... We were right. We were right, all of us who got our sports news from Fashion Choices on Twitter.
They tipped their hand. There's the picture, the baby with the... Celtics.
She's so cute. This is Gordon Hayward's lovely wife and his daughter, and they casually just happened to post a picture on Twitter. Oh, look at my cute daughter, and she's adorable. Happened. And then everyone was mocking. All the big sports outlets were mocking. No, you don't get your news from a fashion choice from a toddler. And
this is what newscasters sound like when they mock.
Guess where Gordon Hayward's going, and
He's
it's
going
not
to
here.
Celtics.
You said he wrote a very nice goodbye note, but it's still...
He did. It's kind of like Malone when Malone left. It's like, I owe my heart and my soul and my career and my money to the Jazz. See ya. And we were like really nice. Go get that ring. Go
no,
get
you know,
that
at
ring.
that point he had done so much for us, though, that it was like, honey, you get anything you want, because he just wanted one freaking ring.
How about
And he was one of the
stay?
most spectacular athletes. Yeah, but he's one of the most spectacular athletes in the history of basketball.
All right.
That was Karl Malone. I'm not sure about how Gordon Hayward's going to go down, but it was a nice run. We got in the playoffs, which has been a while, and that was good. So
See ya. At least you'll have lobster.
okay, that was good. Yeah.
All right, what are you going to do here? Tell me
nice.
something good?
This one I thought was absolutely wonderful, because here's the deal. Oliver Tell Me Something Good start out in the most depressing possible way.
They are.
I don't know why.
But stay with it. Stick with it for the payoff.
But this is the coolest thing ever. Jody Thompson, as part of the police department in Oklahoma, and he was off duty when he heard about a really severe case of child abuse. He used to handle dozens of child abuse cases because he was more or less the department's liaison with the district attorney's office.
Okay.
And so he had to go through a lot of really painful testimony. He went through a lot of tragic case reports.
There would just be. I mean,
'Cause-
you have to imagine that there's post-traumatic
And he,
for everyone involved.
And when he heard about the two newbie officers going out on the call, he said, "Do you want me to come along with you?" Even though he's off duty. And they went,
Right.
"Yes, please." John Thompson was 8 years old. He was tied up in a trash can filled with cold water. He hadn't eaten for days. It was clear he had bruises all over his body. So they covered the boy with a blanket and took him to a state detective agency where they could take photos of his injuries as evidence against his parents. And then they took him to the emergency room, and Officer Thompson put John on his lap, and he wrapped him in his blanket and sat with him the entire time. The examination took a good 10 hours. Anyone who's been in an emergency room knows how long it takes. When John was recovering in intensive care, Officer Thompson thought about it, and he talked to his wife, and they became certified foster parents.
I see.
Because they wanted to bring him home.
Because they're taking the kid away from the parents, obviously.
And that very same week, just as they got certified, they also found out that that they were pregnant with their third biological child. So it was like, surprise! Well, 7 months later, the Department of Human Services also found out that John, who their sweet abused little guy that they were going to adopt, that his mother, biological mother, was in the hospital having delivered another child addicted to drugs. So when the newborn was only 24 hours old, John,
Really?
Thompson adopted her too. So they suddenly had 3 more children into their family within the space of a year.
Welcome.
And he says, I've never planned on having such a big family, but I've never been happier. And here's the part that kills me. He and his wife are just adorable. He says, John is amazing. He's a straight-A student, and he's on the honor roll. He's in the gifted and talented program. He's involved in the local drama club. He said, the kid is really resilient. And he bounced back from this. And he said the most important thing is that John's little sister will never have to know what it was like growing up in that house.
Very cool.
I mean, who does that?
You're making people cry right off the show?
I know, but now I'm happy that I can go on through everything else because that was spectacular.
Polygamist running for office.
Okay, everybody, do you remember the HBO series Big Love? And we all kind of got a giggle out of it. Bill Paxton was the lead, and he had 3 wives that all lived in their own little houses and compound in Sandy. And there were some things they got right about our culture, and there's some things that were like, are you kidding me? It's totally not like that, dude. But here's the interesting thing. The guy who they more or less think HBO based Big Love on
Yeah.
is Joe Darger.
And he's running for office. He wants to be the mayor.
Now, to me, this seems problem.
Oh.
Aren't they adorable?
They're a beautiful husband and wife.
Wife. Well, here's the interesting thing, though. You're remembering Joe, the polygamy is still illegal here in the state of Utah.
Kind of is.
You're presenting a fairly high profile of your illegal behavior and activity
Yeah.
with your 3 wives.
It's going to be awkward, isn't
So
it?
he
Because,
feels-
wait a minute, the legislature did step up some of their ability and fines and made it easier to prosecute this in the last session.
Yeah, you remember the one that they did, was it Cody Brown and his 3 wives that they moved out of Utah?
By HBO.
Their TLC show because they got prosecuted because, once again,
It was illegal.
it's illegal. So he's running for mayor of Riverton, and I'm trying to figure out how he's going to pull this sucker off.
You have 3 first ladies.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. But it just seems to be somewhat problematic and perhaps overly idealistic to think the average voter is going to go, I don't care that you're breaking the line. You got 3 wives, each successively younger and more attractive than the last, because I'm sure God always asks for that specifically.
Any feelings on this?
That was just my own editorial thoughts.
Okay.
On the interesting nature of the fact that most of the polygamists I've seen here tend to adapt to younger and more attractive, like flight attendant, hot stewardess wives as they go along, picking up the new ones. It just, I'm sure that was a direct revelation from God that they picked the 18-year-olds. It's, yeah. I know I'm being cynical, and I'm sorry because I just gave you the happy, heartwarming story. But I'm not. My sisters and I were looking at this the other day and laughing hysterically because it's true. It's true. It's like God commanded me to take this supermodel as my next wife. Not the girl who wears sensible shoes, who can pull a backhoe, but the 18-year-old. It just seemed surprising that this seemed to be a trend. That's
Right. Hope he doesn't piss off the head sheriff guy because he just go down and arrest him.
I'm still not sure how this one's going to work out.
And can you pardon yourself from within jail?
Can you even file? I mean, it's...
I don't know.
Anyway, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Joe and his 3 wives and his
You
run
better
for
now? You
public
feel
office.
you feel better?
I feel a little bit cleansed. Yes, thank you. And I am not the only woman thinking that right now, am I? Yeah, thank you, Marianne. Right? And Jody, I know. Yeah. Facebook. Thank you.
Okay.
We can move on now.
News?
Daisy's in the Gephardt Daily Newsroom. It is brought to you, of course, by Robert J. DeBry offices in Sandy, Salt Lake City, and St. George. If you need his help, go to robertdebry.com. All executive transportation, that's our dear friend March with his beautiful fleet of Escalades. He can take you to the airport or a special night out. All for elegant, affordable service at executiveutah.com. And all Utah plumbing, heating, and air. Something's going to break down this week because it's 103 degrees. Isn't it lucky that John has 24-hour on-call service at allutahplumbing.com. Good morning, Daisy. What's going on?
Hello, everyone. Here's what's making headlines on GephartDaily.com. A devastating fire in Midvale early Wednesday morning injured 3 people and forced more than 100 others from their homes. The 3-alarm blaze was called in just after midnight. When fire crews arrived, they found a second-story residence at the Chelsea Apartments engulfed in flames. Unified firefighters made a number of ladder rescues, plucking people from adjacent apartments, 3 of which were destroyed. 2 of the 3 injured hurt themselves after jumping from second-story balconies before firefighters arrived. The 3rd was hurt trying to break one of the jumper's falls. And a second major fire kept firefighters busy in the hills above Cottonwood Heights last night. The Unified Fire Authority says the fireworks sparked blaze, charred 11 acres and damaged at least 2 homes. A number of fences and at least 1 outbuilding were torched as well. The man who started the fire actually called 911. Investigators called the incident an accident. And 1 person is dead and 5 others injured after a car plowed into a crowd near 200 South and 400 West in downtown Salt Lake Tuesday afternoon. Witnesses told Gephardt Daily the car sped up as it drove down the sidewalk just east of the Rio Grande district before slamming into several people. The female driver then jumped from the car and ran off before police arrived. Investigators are still looking for the woman. They say it's unclear if the act was intentional. And now a quick look at weather along the Wasatch Front, where we can expect triple-digit temperatures for the next 3 days. Kill me now. We're looking at highs of 103 Wednesday, which means bearded men and dogs could very well burst into flames. You'll want to keep an eye out for that. And we call off to 102 Tuesday and 100 Friday. The weekend looking like upper 90s. For more local news and weather, go to GephartDaily.com. Todd and Erin, back to you.
Thank you, Daisy. That was so much fun doing the road trip show with Daisy.
Wasn't it?
And force feeding her all the hideous Americana foods. And she loved the
Like
Funyuns.
what
And the
are Funyuns?
Fanta pineapple flavored soda. That was, although you know she's going to get her revenge on us in some way because the next round of British food is going to be.
Last one was the
Saltiness.
spotted dick. It's a sponge cake.
It was delicious.
That's why we're trying to get even with her. All right, you're going to talk about...
It seemed fair. Yeah, this is Black Diamond Experts. Now, with electrical, plumbing, heating, and air, pretty much they can cover anything that goes wrong in your house, which is a very delightful surprise because usually it's this time of year when you're desperate for any kind of relief and it's 103 degrees that something will go out. Now, the nice thing about Black Diamond Service Experts is what they will come in. They have 24-hour service. They will give you a bid. They'll say, this is what we think is going to cost. And you can take it, and there's no nasty surprises at the end. See, they're licensed, bonded, and insured, so you know that you're opening your door to a stranger. This is a licensed, bonded, and insured guy who's coming into your house to help you. It's amazing how many different things that they can fix. And the cool thing about it, though, is that they have had spectacular response and spectacular ratings, and they have been Gephardt approved for so very, very long. So look, if you need their help, if you want to get a bid, you want to get an idea on something that needs to be fixed, just go to blackdiamondexperts.com, and they will take very good care of you.
All right, so first of all, welcome. It's the Todd and Erin morning stream on GephartDaily.com. Now, you sat down with which Bennett?
Well, Senator Bob Bennett, of course, served Utah for a bazillion and 9 years in the United States
Yes,
Senate.
yes,
Amazing
I did.
guy, tall, beanpole, skinny, really, really charming man. Well, his son Jim is involved in the Unity Party of Utah. This is their big push to start a third-party movement, because he felt strongly, along with several of the other founders, that the both parties right now really weren't serving the interests of Utah as a whole.
Okay.
And he felt that they needed a third option that would maybe break up some of the stranglehold, right? So we threw ourselves into one of Marsh's Escalades, and we took a whirl around town to chat about it. And by the way, the kid you see in the back squirming around is his son Jamie. He just took him from soccer camp.
All right, let's watch.
This is Jim. Coming from the political family background that you have, with your dad serving the state of Utah and the Senate for God knows how many years, I would have thought you would have run screaming in the opposite direction when they started talking about making a third party in Utah. Do you have a masochistic streak, or how did this happen?
Well, I thought my political career was done. I ran my father's final campaign. And when that was over, I actually ended up working for the Democrat who had run against him.
Interesting.
And well, he'd called me up and he said, would you come and talk to me? And I said, sure, I'll come talk to you. And I said, I'd much rather you were the senator than the Republican. And he said, well, will you come work for me? I said, well, I think it would embarrass my father if I did that. And he said, well, we won't tell anybody. And that works. I got a call from the Salt Lake Tribune saying, we know you're working for this campaign and we're going to run a story with or without a comment from you. Would you like to make a comment?
You're like, crap. Okay.
So I figured after that I was done. And I'd sort of been a man adrift politically for a very long time. I haven't felt like either party has represented where I stand, and that really culminated with the rise of Donald Trump. It's surprising to me how many supposedly Republican principles the party was willing to throw overboard in order to elect Donald Trump. If the Republican Party stands for anything, it stands for free markets and free trade. Now all of a sudden Donald Trump wants to build walls and slap tariffs on everything. And that's not the party of Ronald Reagan. That's the party of Donald Trump. And I decided I didn't want to be a member of the party of Donald Trump. This was never really something that I was planning on doing. I was a theater major at the University of Southern California. I got an MBA from Brigham Young University, because a theater degree qualifies you to work at some of your finer fast food restaurants.
I understand that. Yeah, the food service industry.
Food service industries, all of those kinds of things. I ended up managing theaters. I was the marketing and artistic director down at the Tooele Center for the Arts in Southern Utah for 5 years. And while I was down there, one of the board members was a man named Fred Lampropoulos. Fred ran for governor in 2004, and he hired me as his communications director. I wrote a radio program for him. He did a 2-minute radio show every day. And that sort of sucked me into working in politics. I ended up running a number of different campaigns, and I ended up, I was the communications director for my father's 2004 campaign.
Yeah. So here you are. You could actually get out. It's a lot like that whole scene in The Godfather where you're like, suck me back in.
Suck me back in.
And someone contacted you and said, we want to start a third party and we think that you would be a great figurehead.
Well, that isn't what they said. They said, we want to start a third party, and we think, they actually hired me as an executive director of the party to manage the party. But there was no conversation about me running for office.
Yeah, but you're such a great face for the party. It would seem
well,
like
that's
a given.
very kind of you. Well, I thought my political days were over. I thought Sucker, I know. But the original plan for this party was that we were going to launch in 2018 because that was the first election on the docket. And then all of a sudden, Jason Chaffetz announces he's resigning.
And this puts everything into fast forward.
Puts everything into fast forward. We thought this is a great way to introduce this party to the people of Utah. But we didn't have a candidate. And we were sitting around in a meeting, and I said, well, what if I were the candidate? Which was, famous last words. And everybody said, and the rest of the party said, would you be willing to do that? That'd be great. So I sort of jumped into that process. And it's been a wonderful experience. It's really been fascinating. I've still got to get a hang of Twitter here. Yeah, yesterday I was told that I'm Bill Nye's lower functioning younger brother. A lot of tweets talking about my hair.
What do you want to see happen with this party?
The thing we're trying to do is offer Utahns a second party. I mean, people keep calling us a third party, and I think we're the second party because the Democrats in Utah, to a large degree, have given up. They've decided they're more interested in making statements than they are in winning elections. They run candidates that have absolutely no chance of winning, but the fact is, but at least they made a statement.
We've made a moral stance.
You know, and so that's the most we can do. You would think after losing every statewide election for the past 20 years that they'd start to reach out to the middle, and they've done precisely the opposite. And you know, I find it frustrating to some degree that there is a real strain of anti-Mormonism in the Democratic Party. You can't win an election in the state of Utah when you're alienating well over half the voters who are LDS.
Well, nonetheless, anywhere where you're working on a position of anti this or anti that,
Exactly,
that is not a productive party.
That's not inclusive. That's not, and the Democrats have decided not to be inclusive, and they've decided to go off into their own extreme. And the Republicans, as a result, have become so arrogant that they can do whatever they want. And where else are you going to go?
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
And I'm running for office because I want to give those people somewhere else to go. I can't tell you how many people have come up to me in this process and said, "Thank you for giving us this option."
Mm-hmm.
The vast majority of people in Utah are in the center, and they're not represented. They've got no place to go. And I think this party is a real alternative to the one-party state.
All right, so this is our new face of the Utah United Party, or is it United Utah Party?
United Utah Party.
United Utah Party. Jim Bennett, this is going to be fun to watch you run.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate this opportunity.
That was so mean about the mean tweets. The guy who called him, it was Bill Nye the Science Guy's intellectually incapacitated younger brother. That was so mean.
Oh my gosh.
I guess in politics you have to get used to it, but I was really interested. Jim's really smart. And he's a lot like his dad in terms of that kind of passion, you know, for politics and fairness. And I don't know. I'm just excited to see where the Unity Party is going to go, just because it would be nice to have another option.
All right, big thank you, Tom. We want to thank you for watching us because the numbers have been stupid. And so we know it's not just our family. Well, they don't watch either.
No, Jenny and Julie don't. They don't watch us at all, to be honest.
But 4.5 months in, and this is, I don't get it. But thank you. And to do that, we're going to thank you. We're giving away a great night at Christopher's.
It's been so fun talking to some of the winners from Christopher's Prime Steakhouse. It's you and 3 friends, and then March comes and picks you up in one of his gorgeous cars, takes you down. You don't have to worry about parking, you don't have a designated driver. You can just relax and enjoy yourself. The food is spectacular. They have this one perfect filet that they put on top of these mashed potatoes, and it makes me want to weep like a child.
Oh, man.
It's that good. But it's just a wonderful night out, and it's that one time that you get to remember everything and take pictures and feel glamorous again.
You get prettier
Heaven knows we all deserve that.
than everyone else in the room.
So all you need to do to enter to win is go to one of our Facebook pages. There's 3 of us, Gephardt Approved, Gephardt Daily, or the Todd and Erin Facebook page. You can just like the page, comment on the show today, share it, and you're in. You're entered. That's all you have to do. And then, of course, we'll draw another winner on Friday. I thought this was the nicest thing. Last week's winner, Dave, he's a longtime listener, a longtime viewer of the show. Sweetest man.
Driving Dave?
Yeah. And he said, "Hey, would you and Todd like to come with us?" And I'm like, no one's ever asked us to do that.
Are there rules against that?
I'm sure there are. But in any case, you should actually take people that
You like.
deserve it. And, tell us about it later.
All right.
But thank you.
I love this topic.
Lottery. It's because we all have a list of what we're going to do when we win, right?
We got a bucket list. Okay,
Yeah.
so first of all, from all the stories I've heard, I mean, people have been murdered. People get sued by their own family members. People get, horrible divorces and just horrible. And some people have died. Some people end up in prison. And so, your first thing, I've got it all figured out.
And what was the bankruptcy? I think the rate of bankruptcy for lottery owners was something insane, like 60%.
That's the same thing as NFL players going belly up in 6 months.
Here's your big fat chunk of money. You don't know how to manage it. It's
so
gonna
number
be
one,
fun.
what we've learned is you go get a lawyer. Number 2, you don't tell anybody. Number 3, you don't buy anything. You lease things. You lease a yacht. Maybe you don't like yachts. Maybe you're not going to use it. Do all these special things. But what would be on your list? I do kind of know, but...
Well, no, obviously I'm buying my mother a forest green Jaguar with a tan convertible top because that has been her dream her entire life.
Okay.
So my mother would be driving the coolest car on I-15. I
Then
would
you have a party where all your siblings and stuff come over, and you ask,
maybe take a vacation over to one of our Scottish castle for
and
our
then
clan.
you ask all your siblings and stuff what the balance of their mortgages are. How cool would that be? Hand out an envelope.
Make sure all the kids have a college education.
Yeah, make sure that.
You know, it's interesting because your sister Jennifer she lives up in Maine, and she was telling me New Hampshire, and she was telling me that they're almost positive that the principal of their high school won the lottery. He would never admit it, and it was this very long, simmering rumor. But all of a sudden, all of the stuff got repaved on a bunch of roads so the kids could get to the bus on time, and that they would be able to get there because it wasn't well done.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, there was money for a few programs at school that nobody thought would ever get funded.
So they still
But
don't
he
know.
steadfastly refuses to
still
admit that
don't
he
know.
ever won the lottery.
Right.
But she's like, but it's this long. But everyone's like, the money could not have come from anywhere else.
That's cool.
I mean, it's stuff like repaving the road so the school bus could get to him.
That's crazy.
I mean, it was cool.
All right.
So it'd be fun to be able to do those kind of mysterious little things. You know,
Right.
you see a need and you actually get to just go, I can fix that. I have money.
David and Maureen, they live in Melbourne, Florida.
Oh, cool.
And they hit the lottery. And what do you think they did with the money?
It depends on their age, but
if
I'm
it was just
assuming
typical.
I'm assuming buy a nice new house.
Yeah.
Probably take care of their kids. So a lot of the stuff you and I think about.
Yeah.
Maybe if they're in Florida, so a big boat. I would buy the biggest boat and park it right next to my house.
That's close. They haven't made a dent in their winnings. As a matter of fact, their winnings are growing so quickly in interest, they couldn't even keep up with trying to spend the interest because this is what they did. They stayed in their $300,000 home and planned to stay there. They brightened it up a bit with some new paint. She did
That's
buy
some of that Sherman-Williams stuff. It's a little fancier.
and probably had somebody else do it. He still has that boat parked in his driveway. 15-foot Boston whaler.
The one that nobody ever gets around to fixing. Yeah.
No, it runs. It just 15-foot Boston whaler, little fishing
What
boat.
happened to the yacht?
What happened to maybe storing it in a dock someplace as opposed to dragging it back and forth? He did upgrade to a new SUV, and his wife
there you
did get a
go.
Tesla, which was about $90,000.
Good for you, sis.
And that's about it. She still goes shopping with her reusable bags, and they're just normal people, and they don't work because they're older. She's 71, and he's like 68, and they're just going about their biz.
Yeah, like, there
Oh,
you
by
go.
the way, did I mention the
Wow.
number after taxes? $325 million. And they got this great picture, and I think she's wearing slippers. Just going into the supermarket, sit around, they talk. She still shops. She still buys lottery tickets.
That's, I mean, given the average rate of return on an investment today, that would be at least,
Oh my gosh!
that would probably be around $3.7 million just in interest alone
When you
every year.
blow your nose, you make like $8,000.
$3.7 million a year just from the interest.
Wow.
Well, they did get a new SUV, and I think that's
They
important.
did, those crazy kids.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so coming up. Coming up, we're going to talk about things are going on with greyhounds. Not the bus, the animals.
Okay.
Yeah, and then how many hot dogs did you eat yesterday? We're going to find out more about that.
And
coming.
plus, no good deed goes unpunished. Coming up next. Todd and Erin's Morning Stream, brought to you by Black Diamond Experts. Electric, plumbing, heating, and air conditioning. You'll be glad you called an expert. The law offices of Robert J. DeBry and Associates, with offices in Salt Lake City, Santee City, and St. George. Check them out at robertdebry.com. The Todd and Erin Morning Stream is actually available anytime at gephardtdaily.com. Just click on the Todd and Erin page.
All right, so we're back to Todd and Erin Morning Stream at GetPartDaily.com. Should we go to the mountain stream?
Oh, I think we should.
I think we should.
It's a
Should we?
soothing image.
It is a soothing
Is this the
image.
one that you took with your so-called waterproof GoPro case?
Well, actually, yeah, this is the one I found out that my GoPro case wasn't waterproof. And as you see here, fortunately...
It looks really nice, though.
It is very babbling. And
I don't understand this. This actually was taken up at City Creek
Creek.
Canyon. We went for a little hike, and found this awesome. Todd's goal in life is to find urban oases everywhere. So
And of course, we didn't go in the water because that would be the watershed, wouldn't it?
you know, little pockets of nature that are really beautiful. And I don't understand what it is with you and Zoe, but you guys have managed to find animal bones wherever you go now. She comes running at my sweet, adorable 6-year-old, and she's wielding this deer skull going, look, Mom, all the teeth are intact. And I'm like dry heaving. What is it with the two of you?
We're investigators. It's like NCI in nature.
Is that why I found a pile of animal bones on my car seat last time we went camping?
Vertebrae. Deer. It's so fun. You learn stuff. When
Move
my
on.
daughter can pick up bones and worms and bugs wearing a tutu, that's a good father right there.
All right, I don't understand how they managed to have such a cataclysmically stupid thing happen that they literally ended up having to shut everything down. This is New Jersey and in Maine, right?
Have you ever been... Well, no, we're going to talk about this, aren't we?
I thought we were going to hit Maine.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, we can do that. So, New Jersey and Maine, the government shut down. And,
No, this is because they couldn't agree on a budget.
yeah, 4th of July weekend.
So they said, we're just going to shut down the government.
Maine's slogan is, come, visit, spend your money, and leave. Seriously, it's actually called Vacation
Have
Land.
a lobster.
Vacation Land. And so basically, this is the biggest part of the season for them. I mean, people drive for like 3 states away to go to Maine for this event. And so initially,
Including us.
when they closed down the state, they closed down state parks. They shut down national parks.
On July 4th.
On July 4th. They actually...
You know, the campground you'd reserved 4 months ago? That all your friends are coming and you'd been baking casseroles in advance to freeze and yeah.
Some campers were actually awoken in the morning and told to leave. Now, they did do an emergency deal where they said, okay, limited. So, like, we're going to leave the parks open. Beaches were closed down. State beaches were closed down. And so...
How can you close a beach?
They put guards, and most of the state beaches have gates on them by the parking lots.
That is horrible.
Yeah, and so the whole deal is they closed it all down. They went, oh, wait, this might be bad for business. This is worse than Jaws showing up off the shore. And so they go, oh, well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to leave all those things over. It's too late. Everyone thought and heard that it was closed.
Oh, it's closed down. Oh, okay, crap. We'll
And
change it.
they ended up going to like Chuck E. Cheese instead. And can you believe it's all about tourism. The economy is based on tourism.
And New Jersey, too, although you almost expect it from New Jersey. Really.
New Jersey is actually a really nice exit. And it's really pretty. Chris Christie was taking a picture of him and his family on a state beach alone.
So, once again, the person who could have ended the budget stalemate and allowed the state to keep running
Alone.
enjoyed a lovely time on the beach that nobody else was allowed on because it had been closed down.
So once again,
That to me sounds like the most heartwarming thing a politician could possibly do to a disappointed constituency.
all I want to say is, politicians, what the hell's going on with you? Right?
In ter-
The federal, when they closed the federal one down, right? And I used to like watching The Deadliest Catch, king crab fishing up in Alaska, right? They ended up going to Washington because they couldn't pull the permit to go crabbing. They couldn't.
Yeah, for all those fishermen, I mean, which is a major part of Alaska's revenue.
Think of all of it.
Yeah.
Everything you couldn't get married. You couldn't get married. You can't get a marriage license. It's just sad. So what the hell you think you're doing?
The Chris Christie one though, that was my #1 for sensitivity picture of the entire weekend though.
He's sitting there in a chair,
I'm sitting here sunning on a beach.
Alone.
You're not allowed to be
and a
in.
photographer jumps out and gets a photo of it, which he starts yelling at, by the way, and because it might give the wrong message. Yeah, it did give the right message, actually.
Certainly a pretty compelling one. Okay, now explain the Greyhound thing. I don't get what happened. here.
Greyhound dogs. You see Greyhound rescues all the time.
Yeah.
It's back east, mostly dog racing. I've been to some dog races. And, and it is the guy in the funny hat smoking the cigar, with his pamphlet and reading it. And keeps it in his back pocket. The Greyhounds, and basically if you haven't seen it, there is a rabbit on a rail. And the rabbit comes around and goes by, and the cage is open, and the Greyhound, they're so fast. That's what they're known for. And the announcer, this is the one in Boston, goes, there goes Swifty, Swifty the rabbit, and then they chase this electronic rabbit on that rail, and then they have a winner, and they all crash at the end, and so on.
I just find that so hard to believe because greyhounds are some of the smartest of all the dog breeds, and I can't picture them looking at this fake rabbit going, "That's totally not a rabbit."
Its name is Swifty. You have to
That's
go chase.
totally
You
not
have
a
to.
rabbit.
It's like a cheetah, and so basically, so they randomly actually do blood tests
They drug test a greyhound.
randomly. How did they get a pee in a cup? My kids can't even hit a toilet. How could a dog hit a cup?
Can't-
Anyway, so and it came back positive.
For what?
Cocaine.
They've been giving those poor little dogs cocaine.
No, wait a minute. Maybe they're just partying on their own. Maybe
Oh
this
yeah.
Maybe this has nothing to do with their owners.
I'm sure that's what it is.
12
Are you
dogs.
serious?
12 greyhounds tested positive. Make them run faster.
I was thinking maybe like a steroid or something, but they were actually giving dogs cocaine. Really? You wanted to win that badly?
Well, of course they do.
Really?
Yeah, they do. And now you got a dog with
Poor little twitchy dog.
has to go to rehab. He stands there and goes row row row, and they all go hello row row, and then they tell their sad story and off they go. All right.
You were so creepy.
Of course I'm creepy. No good deed.
Okay, this is Tooele, and I think we've all been accused
Oh,
of
it's
something
here.
unjustly.
Okay.
Yeah. We've
All right.
all been accused of something unjustly, so you know that feeling of like panic and frustration. No, that's, we all got it. But we've always been encouraged to call police if you see something suspicious, right? We all know it's an issue, like call. So, back in March, David, who's from Tooele County, took on the role of a good Samaritan. It was pretty scary. He saw a woman who was apparently in distress at a Maverick convenience store. She was being yanked away by this guy and thrown into a pickup truck. She was calling for help.
Whoa.
And so he was like, oh crap. So he dialed 911 instantly. Like,
Good.
boom. Like,
Good.
here's where I'm at. I'm at the Maverick. This is what I saw.
Right.
Please see if you can help. They're heading in this direction. Tooele police responded. They found the suspect vehicle.
Good job.
It was an I-80 in Tooele. They managed to pull the driver over. He kept escaping, reaching crazy speeds. But finally, they got him nailed down with the help of the Salt Lake County Police.
There you go. Good teamwork.
Dustin Roy Vincent was taken into custody in connection with kidnapping, theft, and a whole list of
Well,
other
this sounds like a great story.
delightful
What's the
charges.
problem with it?
So right now, I'm picturing maybe like a heartwarming
Parade?
hug, from the
Right.
woman whose life he saved and stuff.
Right.
And there's another problem. The case number is the state of Utah versus David the witness, not the Dustin Roy Vincent,
The bad
who
guy.
was the bad guy. They mistakenly had it listed this based on, I guess, police paperwork.
Wait. They had the arrest warrant and they put it under the hero's name.
Yes, so not only is he wrongly accused, he's now charged with felony kidnapping, auto theft, fleeing police, reckless endangerment, and reckless driving. The documents were official, and they'd even assigned a public defender to his case.
Is he in jail?
Court date is getting set, and he's like, this is getting serious. Because he kept calling people going, I'm the one that called 911.
I'm the nice guy.
And they look nothing alike. There's not the slightest possibility that you could have mistaken him for the perpetrator. There's no possible connection between them that would make it confused. And he had called the Utah County Attorney's Office, and he said, oh, don't worry about that. You are not the one being charged. You're just going to be a witness.
He's going to get the chair.
Don't worry about that. And then, of course, as soon as the police showed up to arrest David, he realized that perhaps the county attorney had been mistaken.
Okay.
And it took 2 more days
In jail.
in jail before they realized their mistake and filed the charges and had them dropped without prejudice. It's like, but he'd had this massive felony record. He'd ended up in jail. He looks like a lunatic, and it takes a long time to expunge that kind of information.
And you know it's going to fall on the rest of his life.
And he's like, but I was the
no.
one that called 911.
And there's a mugshot. You know there's a mugshot.
That is the saddest thing ever.
Right.
But this is, in their defense, this was something when they called the Utah State Courts to go, does this happen a
Right.
lot? And they said, well, we are surprised, and we're a little bit concerned. And I feel like saying, so is David,
So they're going to take care of it.
especially when you arrest him.
All right.
So there you go.
How many hot dogs did you eat over the weekend? 4th of July, right? Ate a lot. Well, Nathan's, they did that the Coney Island. They do the hot dog eating contest. Now, this is really interesting.
Okay.
Because there's a problem going on right now.
Yeah.
First of all, Kobayashi is the world leader, eater, faster guy. There he is now.
He's insane. Oh yeah, totally.
But because he's in a court battle with this eating competition group, and he's not
How so?
participated
I don't understand.
since 1996. Now, first of all, when he came on the scene, and first of all, I'm not really into this because my fear is that some kid in Ethiopia is going to see this kid wasting this food and stuff. But that's just me.
Because don't they throw it afterwards?
You really want details on
No, but
this?
they do, right? I mean,
They can either purge themselves, which sounds like a healthy thing for kids to see, or they do it what they call going natural, which is let nature take its
16
course.
hours on the potty. Okay.
So when he went first time in hot dog eating contest. He went to Nathan's, and the record was 25, and he did 50.
In how much time?
I'm looking. It's
12 minutes, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's to give you an idea.
That's a lot.
This is the man who set the records, eating 62 slices of pizza in 12 minutes. 12 grilled cheese sandwiches in 1 minute. Once again, 13 grilled cheese sandwiches in 1 minute. So, the whole thing on this is now he's now 39. He ate 57 cow brains in 15 minutes, and it's because he set that record. He seems to be in a court thing about that because of his namesake and the fact that he had trademarked himself, and then people are still using his image and stuff. So I just can't stand watching those things. Pie eating contest, okay. Water eating contest, okay. The fair and stuff.
Watermelon, yeah.
But hot dogs. So basically all you're doing is you're just swallowing them whole. And if you can imagine...
Competitive eating has always frightened me because I'm always waiting for someone to need the Heimlich. Always. It's just like you know it's going to happen pretty quickly.
So 50 of those in your stomach. You know what else he has? He has an injury.
He injured himself competitive eating? What, you pull a hammy? What do you do?
He has arthritis of the jaw. And I'm
Oh,
not,
that's so sad.
I'm not kidding you.
Well, yeah, you'd have to have a jaw that like unhinges like a snake's or something because it's like you're swallowing a rat whole or something.
Right.
All right, we're going to skip this last story, guys. And
we're going to skip it?
Yeah, and we're going to go to the break. Coming up next, this is the coolest story I've ever heard about concert IDs.
Oh, yeah, we have that.
I'm really excited to hear about that.
Okay, you're going to love it.
Coming up next.
Okay.
We're brought to you this morning by Executive Transportation. Elegant service, professional style. Go to executiveutah.com. And All Utah Plumbing. Your home deserves the best. 24-hour emergency service at allutahplumbing.com. And also by Columbus Travel. If you go to columbusvacations.com, you can sign up for a weekly newsletter that always has great last-minute deals on hotels, airfare, cruises, and more. Did you know you can catch the Todd and Erin morning stream any time of the day or night on Facebook, YouTube, and SoundCloud, and GephardtDaily.com?
This is so cool. This is a great story. Ed Sheeran, UK, famous singer.
Short little guy, he's a ginger. Castle on the Hill's his latest. I love it.
Is ginger like a mean thing to say? I love redheads.
Oh, no,
I mean,
no,
I
no.
think...
I just think it's a description.
Hang on.
It can be mean, but...
Hang on. I'm going to ask Daisy. So, Daisy, is calling someone a ginger, is that kind of a negative thing?
If you want it to be.
What if you call him a ginge?
Yeah. And also you can call him a ging. That's a whole other a ging.
All right, well then.
That's cool about having an international connection.
It was good to know.
Incredibly talented. Incredibly talented.
Oh, he's wonderful. Now explain what he's doing, though.
If you want to go to his concert, you got to bring 5 forms of ID.
How many?
5.
Why?
Garth Brooks tried to do this.
I remember
back
that.
in the day, and he hated the fact that people were scalping his tickets. And if you don't know, when tickets go on sale, the scalpers have phone banks set up to bombard to get as many tickets as they can, and then they can turn them over.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and a $60 ticket now is suddenly worth $1,200 or more.
Which stinks for everybody who's a real fan, but simply doesn't
Right.
have all the money in the world.
So Ed has figured out something, and I think this is stinking brilliant. So in addition to the ticket, you're also going to need the booking confirmation, the credit card,
Wow.
as well as a form of ID such as your driver's license or your passport. Now the reason being, you don't have to do that if you go through his ticket agency. Now wait, I know what you're thinking. Twickets, it's called. Twickets.
Oh, that's adorable.
Twickets for gingers. No, just Twickets. And what they do is they sell the tickets, and it gives the fans a fan-to-fan ability to sell the tickets to another fan at face value only.
I love that. That's very cool.
So I think he's beat him. So basically,
that's a wonderful
You're
idea.
online. Okay. Oh, I'm going to buy a ticket. I can buy a ticket. I buy a ticket. Use my credit card. I get a confirmation sheet. All right. Then I am confirmed to go. I take that with me. My IDs and stuff like that. And that's pretty hard to get around.
I'm very proud of you, Ed.
I think that is.
That's very for everyone who's ever had their guts squeezed by a scalper to get a ticket to something
Right.
that really mattered, and you know you're going to not eat for the next month. That is a really nice thing.
I think it is too.
Good for him. Because you're right, Garth Brooks did start with that when he was
tried.
At,
He
was at
tried.
the height of his fame, but I think
Yeah.
he got huge pushback. I think from some of the online booking agencies,
No,
and that was
he couldn't get around them. He
Yeah.
couldn't get around them getting a hold of the big blocks of tickets. So now now I think Ed has got it right.
good for Ed. That's pretty
I know,
cool.
that's pretty cool.
Okay,
You want a lightsaber?
you know I always do.
You want a lightsaber?
Yes.
No, it doesn't actually work. This is a prop. It was just sold for $500,000.
I beg your pardon.
$500,000.
No way.
The one he used in the movie.
Which one?
The Luke.
Luke Skywalker, the original one?
Yeah.
Get out!
Stop yelling.
No, that's so cool. Are
Yeah.
you kidding?
Gary Kuntz, he was one of the, he owns this, and he was involved in the film, and he's lending them out to, the Wrigley's Believe It or Not stores that you see on the dwarfs in San Francisco and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he rents them out for them to see. R2-D2, the unit used for the original trilogy, was sold for nearly $3 million.
Wow.
And you didn't get the little guy who came inside of it.
That is amazing.
I know. All right, more news.
All right, Daisy's in the Gephardt Daily Newsroom. It is brought to you by Robert J. DeBry & Associates. If you've been in an accident, you need an expert. This is a good time to go to robertdebry.com. Also, executive transportation, professional, discreet transportation all along the Wasatch Front. You can go to executiveutah.com to book your drive. And also Black Diamond Electric, heating, plumbing, and air. The experts with their guaranteed upfront pricing that will never change. You can contact them at blackdiamondexpert.com. Daisy, what's going on?
Hello again, Todd and Erin. Here is a look at headlines from around the world being featured on GephartDaily.com. Donald Trump is embarking on another European adventure. This time, Mr. Trump will meet with Polish leaders before flying to the G20 conference in Hamburg. Team Trump has announced plans for a formal sit-down with Kremlin leader Vladimir Putin at the G20 in what will be their first face-to-face meeting as heads of state. The US and South Korea have sent a strong message to Pyongyang over this weekend's ICBM test in the form of a high-profile missile drill. The Pentagon in South Korea launched a series of precision weapons they said were designed to take out North Korea's leadership should hostilities break out. And US-backed fighters have broken through a wall surrounding the Islamic State stronghold of Raqqa, Syria. The US Central Command says a militia group led by Kurdish fighters breached the wall Monday with the help of US advisors. The Kurds are anticipating stiff resistance as they enter the city, which ISIS leaders declared its capital just 3 years ago. That's it for this edition of World Headlines. For more news from around the globe and here at home, go to GephartDaily.com. Todd and Erin, back to you.
Thank you so very much, my beautiful, adorable Daisy. Okay, I've got Zach Robinson here. He is from the trauma unit up at University of Utah Health Sciences. Thank you for joining us. Now, this was really, it's all we've been talking about all morning is basically that car plowing into that crowd down by Rio Grande. The story's been all over Gephardt Daily. This was really terrifying. There was that one image that scared me of this guy's wheelchair is knocked over. I mean, you could tell there were some really serious injuries. And this is something that you guys have been like trying to do outreach on for a while, going, you can help them.
Yeah.
Tell me what you're seeing and what you want to do.
So University of Utah Health, the trauma program for University of Utah Health is taking place in what's called Stop the Bleed. We're participating in a nationwide campaign with other trauma centers, and even trauma centers right here in Utah, from Logan to St. George, are participating in this campaign.
Very cool.
What Stop the Bleed is, it's a program that teaches people in the community, regular bystanders with no medical training, how to treat somebody like what happened yesterday. So we give people tools to control major bleeding.
That's amazing, because you're right. That's if you'd ever stopped at a roadside where there's an accident and you feel like you can't do anything.
Yep.
That'd be amazing to be able to actually go, I know what I can do now to help you.
Not necessarily car accidents, but think bad guys doing bad things to good people. So Boston bombing, Sandy Hook Elementary, where this program was created. This is a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
So those big time kind of high profile mass casualty incidents, and I'm glad I said that right at
It was
7:30
beautiful. I
in
was
the morning.
impressed. I know. It's
But
good.
like incidents like that, we just want to make sure, because people in the community they arrive first before. I'm a paramedic. They arrive first before paramedics get there, and they can actually do a lot of good. The idea is to save lives. The idea is to give people a chance to get them to our trauma centers here in Utah to get put back together.
So all you're asking is like, if you can just keep them together, if you can keep them stabilized long enough for the few minutes for you guys to arrive and get the professional stuff in, that's literally the difference between life and death sometimes, especially with bleeds.
Yep, so we teach people tourniquet use and how to put on a tourniquet. We talk about wound packing and how to pack wounds with just your shirt sleeve. It's very basic.
Wow.
It's a class that we've been doing out in the community because it is community focused. We've been out in the community. We've been talking to church groups. We've been talking to community councils, people in corporate settings, people in industrial settings.
Isn't
We've
that
been all
interesting?
over. Yeah.
What's like the most interesting request you've had for a class where you would have like, really, you want that?
Probably medical billing.
Interesting.
But you know what? It made a lot of sense because the management of medical billing wanted their employees to know this. So when they're out in the community, they're out doing whatever they're doing, recreating here in Utah, they want to make sure that they're safe. And so they had us come out. We did a class. They're free of charge. They come out and we can do a class. It takes about an hour, and we train the employees.
I totally love that. I think that's genius because you're right. That's actually, you should train our entire news group because those guys are on every crime scene before paramedics ever arrive. And
Let us know.
I can totally see Patrick whipping off his shirt and packing someone's wounds. Okay, so if they wanted to get involved and maybe they wanted to have you guys come and give a lesson, because I think I can think of like 20 different groups I belong to that would be great. How do they contact you? How do they get involved?
Couple things. If they're outside of the Salt Lake Valley, look to their local trauma center. So honestly, when I say all the trauma centers across Utah are participating in this, they are.
They really,
Logan
really
to
are.
St. George. Here in the Valley, there's a couple of us that are participating. You can reach us. You can reach University of Utah specifically at healthcare.utah.edu/trauma. That's our website. Or our phone number to call, 801-587-9195.
Okay, we'll also put that up on the website.
Don't you have an app?
They're, sure.
I think there might be an app that's also involved. So
Yeah, so there is an app that that people can download. I personally don't have it on my phone.
well, you probably don't need it.
but
'cause
it's
you
out
kinda,
there.
You kind of got it. bleedingcontrol.org. So there's a couple of different ways. I think having the hands-on class is really important because my hands would probably be shaking too much to pull the app, but it's nice to know it's there. So once again, give them the website and how they can contact you.
Yeah, healthcare.utah.edu/trauma, 801-587-9195.
And just out of curiosity, I know you've had to do this multiple times as a paramedic, but was there one time where you actually got that together and whipped this person in shape and stabilized them and literally had their life in your hands?
I actually flew for AirMed as well as a flight paramedic, and there's multiple times we put tourniquets on people, and even as a bystander, I've had to place a tourniquet. So it is an important.
If I ever
tool.
get in an accident, I'm like praying that you're the bystander right there.
You know,
It's like,
there's
please.
lots of good paramedics out here in the Salt Lake Valley and in Utah, so we're really well taken care of. Great trauma centers too.
All right, so we're going to have a whole new medical force thanks to all of your inescapable, inexhaustible teaching.
There
It'll
you
be
go.
cool.
Yeah,
All
thank
right,
you.
thank you so much for coming, Jack. That's
Thank
very
you.
cool. All right, coming up next, we've got some information about what happened in the box office over the weekend and what is free and fun along the Wasatch Front this week. Todd and Erin's Morning Stream, brought to you by Black Diamond Experts. Electric, plumbing, heating, and air conditioning. You'll be glad you called an expert. The law offices of Robert J. DeBry and Associates with office. We're brought to you this morning by Executive Transportation. Elegant service, professional style. Go to executiveutah.com. And All Utah Plumbing. Your home deserves the best. 24-hour emergency service at allutahplumbing.com. And also by Columbus Travel. If you go to columbusvacations.com, you can sign up for a weekly newsletter that always has great last-minute deals on hotels, airfare, cruises, and more.
Did you know you can catch the Todd and Erin morning stream any time of the day or night on Facebook, YouTube, and SoundCloud, and GephardtDaily.com?
Hollywood. Todd and Erin morning stream, GephardtDaily.com. Hi.
We were actually part of like the first big movement of a movie over the weekend. I felt like I was so hip and cutting edge. I took the kids to Despicable Me 3 while
How
we were taking
was
a
it?
nap.
Oh, the nap was wonderful.
And I'm like, the movie
And-
was,
Go ahead.
it was okay. Rotten Tomatoes gave it, it's got like 68% approval from the audiences, which was a little sad. I thought it was better than that. It made $72 million at the box office over the weekend, but since the first one I think was somewhere around $123 million, if I remember right, it's definitely, they're starting to see that fade factor, which is too bad.
Yeah,
It's really
72
was
million. Oh, boo-hoo.
sweet. Baby Driver, 21 million. Transformers, the last night on their second weekend out, only 17 million. Wonder Woman actually held better. It's almost at $16 million, and so this is the first female-directed movie that cracked over $100 million at the box office. So I'm excited by that. Cars 3, just under 10 million, and that's another one of the. Well, it's another one of the third sequel.
Trilogies.
That it's like kind of like
Yeah.
okay.
But these are summer blockbusters.
Yeah.
So that's a little weird.
No, Transformers especially just sank like a rock. So that was too bad.
That's Netflix on its way.
Pretty much that's okay. So the rest of us who are cheap and lazy can see it. So that'll be helpful.
So, a question. You think the fun is over because it's the 5th of July.
Isn't it awesome that it's Wednesday and most of us are basically starting our work week?
It's awesome.
Think how random that is.
It's like Italy.
I know.
Not that good.
Except we're not as suave. We don't.
Listen,
Ciao.
they're mowing the lawns outside.
Their timing is impeccable.
Wait, but listen.
Do you remember
No. We're just gonna wait.
Next pass. Do you remember at our old station when they were doing construction underneath us and they were jackhammering concrete? That was a good show to
And our
work with.
partner said, "Why don't you go down there and tell them to stop?" Yeah, construction workers. That'll go over well.
With power tools.
Get your
sure.
butt right down there and do that.
All right, couple of fun and free things to do along the Wasatch Front today. Number one, I thought this was really cool. Happy Valley Farmers Market, Robinson Park. That's an American Fork. That's 5 to dusk.
Okay.
Also, the Sugar House Farmers Market, Fairmont Park. That actually is turning out to be like an epic thing.
Where?
They have all kinds of the Fairmont Park. They have all kinds of things for kids
right.
to do there. It's been a lot of crafts. It's really, really cool. And this one I thought was kind of interesting. If you actually do remember how to knit, which I don't. We learned in Young Women's, and I instantly forgot because,
Right.
homemaking.
It's knitting.
Homemaking skills in me. But they have something called Lit Knit. It's down at Weller Bookworks in Salt Lake City at 6 p.m. And you basically, it's like the Friday Night Knitting Club, the way that you read about in the book and the movie, where you sit around and you knit and you talk books. And it's free.
Oh, cool.
These are all free. But I just love the concept of that. Like you're chatting, you're knitting. It's bookish.
Wholesome.
I don't know. I would actually learn knitting again just to go to that one.
What's the
because I think
Sugar
it's
House
cool.
Park one again?
That's the Sugar House Farmers Market. It's down at Fairmont Park.
When?
It starts at 5 and then it runs through dusk.
Okay, today.
And you can also check our Todd and Erin page on GephardtDaily.com. I do have a list of all the farmers markets along the Wasatch Front, what day, kind of if there's any specialties. And that way, if you're looking for something to do, it's always awesome.
Now, we're going to say goodbye here, but before we do, every once in a while you have a camera at the right time, and the guys here are news people and videographers and photographers and
And they
stuff.
never sleep.
So they
Ever.
taught me is like you always have to have a device to take an image, and this happened last year. But I was kind of going through our YouTube and try to figure this one out. Take a look.
Is he watering his car?
Yeah,
His car's on the grass,
which is good.
and
Conservation.
he's watering it. Why?
I stopped my car and I looked at
You
it.
would have to.
I saw it and I'm like,
You would have to. Why is he watering his car parked on the lawn?
The only thing I can think of is he's trying to test the seal on the sunroof.
That is the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
There you go. You don't see that every day. And we're the Todd and Erin morning stream on GephardtDaily.com. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
All right.